So what's going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video on the channel where we are back with another zombies Q&A. Over the past couple of weeks, so many of you guys have been asking me, Eli, where are the Q&As? Why are you not making them? Honestly, I just thought I'd take a break for a few weeks since the new DLC was releasing so I could cover content on that specifically. But since I've seen so many of you asking, even though I was going to start it up again next week, I thought, you know what, let's get right into it. So here we go. As always, if you do enjoy the video, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed, leave any questions and comments you have about the zombie storyline down below, but here we go. So the first question of today from YouTube_Row7 says, hey BOA, how come in the comics when Richtofen says to the Tranzit crew, you will be free when you are needed, but in Blood of the Dead, he leaves them behind when they are needed for the Great War? Okay, the wording's a little bit strange, but basically what you're asking me is, why did Richtofen leave the Tranzit crew in Blood of the Dead when he told them before they entered the cryogenic chambers that he would keep them safe? As we know, at the end of Blood of the Dead, that pocket dimension that it was in was closed off, meaning eventually everything inside of it would have been destroyed, including Misty, Moulton, Samuel and Stuhlinger, which totally goes against what Richtofen said to them. He told them that they will be kept alive and he will wake them up when he finds a perfect world for them to live in, but as we see, he didn't. He left Blood of the Dead, leaving them there. Now we do know it's not necessarily Richtofen's fault. When he told the Tranzit crew that he's going to keep them safe, that was before the Chronorium changed. He put them in these 4 cryogenic chambers, and I truly do believe he did intend on waking them up when he found somewhere safe for them to live, but as we see, the Chronorium changed, the future changed, which meant Richtofen's plan had to change as well. And so now, because of the new events that took place in Blood of the Dead, Richtofen had to leave, trapping the Tranzit crew in Alcatraz. And then, like I said, at the end of the Easter egg, this dimension does get closed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they died, because we know in a radio from Classified, which takes place after Blood of the Dead, we can hear Samuel is alive and he's trying to get in contact with Richtofen, which tells us that the Tranzit crew survived. But as to where they are now or what they are doing at this point in time, we don't know. Personally, I would have thought we would have seen them in Alpha Omega, but of course that isn't the case. Blood of the Dead takes place before that map, and it's in a different universe and dimension. So what role are the Tranzit crew going to play in zombies? We only have one more ether map left, which we know is the Great War, or at least we assume that's it. There have been a lot of rumours that it's going to be Call of the Dead. We also know that we are going to Dr. Monty's house, as we were told by Samantha, but if I had to guess, DLC 4 should be the Great War. It's all been leading up to this point. So what role are the Tranzit crew going to play? Richtofen promised them in Blood of the Dead that when he finds a perfect world for them, he will awaken them from the cryogenic chambers and send them there. But since that didn't happen, well, what are they gonna do? And also remember, in the telephone call that we got from Samuel in Classified, he said that Richtofen sent them somewhere. It seems just before that dimension was closed off, the cryogenic chambers that they were in began to thaw out, and Richtofen sent them to a new location. But Samuel says he doesn't know where he is or why he's here. Richtofen hasn't given him any more information on what they need to do next. And so I think it's very possible that we will be seeing them in the Great War. I don't think we're going to be playing as them. It's going to be the Ultimus and Primus characters, but maybe there'll be Easter eggs, or possibly like in Call of the Dead, they'll be trapped behind a door and we have to interact with them in some way. I don't know, but I guess they're going to have a big role to play. Like I mentioned, I was kind of disappointed that they didn't have a role in Alpha Omega. Yes, we had Moulton trapped in the bunker, and we know Russman used to work here, but that all took place before they became involved with Richtofen. So what do I think? Yes, we will see them in DLC 4 in the Great War. In what way, I'm not too sure. Not playable characters, but I hope that they're going to have a big involvement in the Easter egg. Otherwise, why would Treyarch have brought them back? They have quite a relevant role to play in Blood of the Dead, and since DLC 4 is the end of the Ether storyline, Blood of the Dead definitely didn't give us the end of the Tranzit character story, and so surely that's going to happen in the Great War. I just feel like in some way they're going to help Primus and Ultimus to defeat Dr. Monty, maybe by collecting something for them, doing some quest for Richtofen again. I don't know, but let me know your ideas down in the comment section below. Also, remember in the intro cutscene for Alpha Omega, we did see a couple of the Tranzit characters being, I think it was Stuhlinger and Misty. In that cutscene, we know it showed a mixture of DLC 3 and 4. We saw some of Alpha Omega, and we also saw some footage of the Great War as well. And we saw other characters like Peter McCain, who we did see involved in Alpha Omega, but the Transit crew weren't, and so that intro cutscene must have been showing them in DLC 4. It looks like they will be playing a part. I also do quickly want to mention the position that those characters are in. It's almost like Stuhlinger is praying, almost like he's crying or worried about something. It looks like the Transit characters are scared. Maybe something is going to happen to them in the Great War. Are they going to have to sacrifice themselves or something? I'm not too sure, but I think it's going to be difficult for every character. The next question from Legion815 says, "Hey BOA, do you think that the guns from BO2 zombies are better than the ones in BO3? By the way, love your vids." So honestly, in my personal opinion, I feel it's about the same. Some guns were bad in Black Ops 2, and then we have some bad ones in Black Ops 3, but I don't know, I kind of feel like BO3 maybe edges it a little bit. If you want to compare that to Black Ops 4, then BO3's guns definitely win. It actually feels like they do damage compared to BO4's, and I just feel like they're a little bit more creative, and I don't know, BO4 kind of feels like we used half of those weapons before in Black Ops 3, so I feel like that game had the best guns. But if you had to ask me out of any COD zombies, I would probably say Black Ops 1, just using the Commando and the AK, the Galil on that game to kill zombies, it was just so satisfying. Black Ops 1's is my favourite. Of course, there was also World at War, which it wasn't too bad. Yes, we had World War II guns, so there's not much of a variety, but out of all of them for me, I would say BO1 was the best. Then BO3, then BO2, then Black Ops 4, then World at War. But again, let me know your thoughts down below. The next question from Marcus Allison says, "Why was Moulton in the Nuketown bunker, and will we see him in Alpha Omega?" So now I think about it, I probably picked this question just before the map released, although I have still seen people asking me this question now that the map has come out. I'm guessing that some people just haven't been staying up to date with certain parts of the storyline, but quickly, if you don't know, it was finally revealed in Alpha Omega why Moulton was in the bunker. You can still find him, and I have done a full video. If you want to check it out, I will link it in the description. If I remember, half the time I say that and forget. But we find out that the reason Moulton was in the Nuketown bunker in the first place was because he came here to investigate a rumour that he heard. There was talk and theories that he read up online about how Broken Arrow and the government had created these advanced robots. But we know soon enough these robots began to develop emotions because of the elemental shard. Broken Arrow wanted to use them in their toy soldier project, which was to basically send them out to war to get them killed. The robots didn't want to be killed, and so it seems like when Cornelius Purnell turned himself into the Avogadro, he took control of the ADAM robots and turned them against the facility's occupants. They killed everyone here. And as we can see, out of curiosity, Moulton came here to investigate what was going on, and when he got here, he got scared of the robots and so locked himself inside of the bunker, which explains why we see him here and also in the original Nuketown. He didn't want to come out because he was afraid that the ADAMs would kill him. As to how exactly he got out and met up with the Transit crew later, I don't believe that's ever been explained. We are just told that he meets up with the crew. It doesn't say exactly how he got out of this situation, but nevertheless that still explains why Moulton was in Nuketown in the first place. The next question from Ryan Vid says, "Hi Eli, in Black Ops 1 in Nuketown, I found that there's a book that had Edward Richtofen's name on it. Why would this be here? And I'm glad you brought this up because now that I think about it, yes, this Easter egg did exist in the original Nuketown, but there was never really an explanation as to why this was here. But if you think about it now, and we don't find it, as far as I'm aware, on Alpha Omega, this was only in the original Nuketown, but like you said, if you go upstairs in the house, on the bookshelves, you can find Edward Richtofen's name on one of the books. But why is this here? This is a Broken Arrow facility. It belonged to the Americans. Richtofen is a German. He was part of the Nazis. So why was this here? Well, as we've just found out in Alpha Omega, Cornelius Purnell got his hands on a schematic of Richtofen's journal, and when he read it, it turned him insane, it turned him crazy, in which he began to hear voices in his head, and one of those was the Shadow Man. This book could be Richtofen's journal. We don't actually know what it looks like, or at least I don't think we do. The first time we actually saw this was in Shino Numa for World at War. We know that was the reason why Richtofen, Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey went there the very first time. It was to collect his journal, and since then we've seen it pop up now and again in our zombie storyline. The last time was in Ascension where Yuri found Richtofen's journal, he read it, and when he did, he turned crazy. He began to hear voices in his head, and one of those was Samantha. And now, as we can see, it looks like Richtofen's journal was also in Nuketown. And as we've learned from the radios, The Pentagon thief, who was Yuri, was captured by Cornelius Purnell at Broken Arrow, where Purnell found schematics of Richtofen's journal on him, he read it, and he turned crazy as well. So all the way back in the original Nuketown Zombies, this could have been Richtofen's journal, and now all of a sudden in Alpha Omega we find out that yes, it was in fact here, and Purnell got his hands on it, which eventually led to him becoming the Avogadro. It does say that he only managed to get schematics, but this could have been showing us all the way back then, even though we didn't know it back in Black Ops 2, that Richtofen's journal was in Nuketown and that it was going to play a massive part in BO4 for Alpha Omega, which is exactly what's happened. Without Richtofen's journal being here, the events that happened in this map wouldn't have played out. Purnell wouldn't have turned into the Avogadro, Yuri wouldn't have been tortured, the APD wouldn't have been built, and basically this map wouldn't exist. Richtofen's journal plays a very important part. So anyway guys, there we go, that is it for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel, leave any questions you have in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, goodbye.